It was the bright half of the day, and the full moon arrived. Right then he remembered, this is the time for me to call all of them. We have the best of light to see each other. Sufficient light. And we don't have to fear. Suppose we go on playing in our own manner for hours and hours of the day. Till the day breaks, there will be moonlight. Thereafter the sun will be there. So fearlessly, unreservedly we can go ahead. So he played his flute. It had a very special message. Nothing very distinct, but an indistinct message. So that everybody can interpret it in his own or her own manner. When the flute play was heard, all of them heard it from their respective cottages, homes. It was so exciting, so alluring, so captivating, fascinating, so persuasive that none of them was able to resist getting away from the homes. So all people exited from their homes, and everybody wanted to make sure that nobody was seen by another. Everybody thought that I should go, and I should be the first person to arrive at the scene. So this kind of a competition apparently was in their mind, and they proceeded. This is what happened. So all of them went. It was primarily meant for the Kumaris who wanted him as their husband. But you know, when the flute play, it had to be openly played, so he played it. When he played it, all people heard it. And a little older women also, they also were excited. And all of them decided to simply run away from where the flute play came, or the flute player where he stood. Bhagavan apitaratrihi sharadotphulla mallikaha vikshya manaschakre yogam ayam upashritaha. This is the original portion I want to read now and then. Bhagavan apitaratrihi. Srimad Bhagavatam as well as Shukamuni makes it a point to describe Krishna very specially on different occasions. Different adjectives are used. Here he says, Bhagavanapi, Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, Lord Krishna, Taratrihi, Sharadot Phulla Mallikaha. In the Sharatkala, the Mallika flowers, not really the jasmine, the other one, the Mallika flowers will blossom very beautifully. So the entire Sharatkala was full of the Mallika fragrance, filled air. Sharadot Phulla Mallika Vikshya Rendum Manaschakre. And seeing that there is all round fragrance of the Mallika flowers and Sharatkala has arrived, he decided to have a playful time with all these Kumaris. Manaschakre Yogam Ayam Upashritaha. This is the one word that is very significant in its conveyance. Yogamayam upashritaha. Listen to this word very carefully. My dear viewers, are you attentive? Yogamayam upashritaha. Here was one Krishna, and a number of Kumaris were going to arrive. How can one Krishna be pleasing to all of them? Every one of them would like to have a Krishna for herself. And if a batch of people come and there is only one boy there, none of them will be pleased. There may be even a confusion. People may try to lynch even. We don't know. So he had to court the wonderful power called Yogamaya. It is an indescribable spiritual and mystic power by virtue of which anything can be brought to existence and anything can be made to be non-existent, and whatever changes are necessary can be administered to whatever phenomena are there. This is called Yogamaya. So, Yogamayam Upashritaha. By taking recourse to his Yogamaya, whenever necessary, he displays it. Whenever not necessary, he keeps it back. So, he was a human, born of Devaki and Vasudeva. But you will find, though he is a human, he was an embodiment of Yogamaya also. So he decided to resort to and display Yogamaya. The entire atmosphere filled with the fragrance of Mallika flowers, I said. That was a very good time for this kind of a playful meeting. And then he decided to fulfill the promise of all the Kumaris. Tadodu Rajah Kagubhakkarair Mukham Prachya Vilimban Arunena Shantamaihi Sacharshaninam Udaga Achujo Mrajan Priyah Priyaya Ivadirgha Darshana. See, I am reading this sloka so you will understand how much of a Maha Kavya this Srimad Bhagavatam is. Whenever they get occasions, they have to describe nature. And in the nature you will find various seasons are there. So all the details of each season will have to be described and are being described. When they describe the Trigudachala, you will understand what an assortment of trees are there described in Srimad Bhagavatam. When they are describing a river, a lake, the water flowers and so many other things you will find, it's all very, very beautiful. Tadodu Rajah Kagubhakkarair Mukham Prachya Vilimban Arunena Shantamaihi Sacharshaninam Udaga Achujo Mrajan Priyah Priyaya Ivadirgha Darshanaha. The full moon arising, it started spreading its comforting, cool, radiant rays everywhere. And particularly when in the forest the moon rays were spreading, you will find a number of trees are there. So the moon rays can only penetrate where there is vacancy, there are holes, etc. So when they started spreading everywhere, stroking all the beings with his arms, all the creatures, all the beings, they were stroked by the rays. Then the purpose was to alleviate and appease the day-long grief, agitation and torment of their minds. The sun is known to be scorching, and the scorching sun sets at the end of the day. Then the moon comes, and you will find when the moon comes, all people are happy. Oh, the heat has gone, and the cool radiance has started spreading. Everybody will be happy. So the agitation, the grief, the unpleasantness of the mind, sweating and the like, all of them disappear and everybody is assuaged by the moonlight. Drishtva kumudvandvam akhanda mandalam ramananabham navakunkumarunam vanam cha tat komala gobhiranjidam jagaukalam vamadrisham manoharam. Drishtva, seeing. So when you look at it, is all one moon, shining beautifully, radiantly, comfortably, and very in a cold, beautiful manner. And when it all falls, as I said, on the forest you will find, it cannot penetrate anywhere. So he says, Kumudvandam Akhanda Mandalam. It formed into a beautiful circle, a brilliant circle or a circle of brilliance. Ramananabham Navakunkumarunam. Because the moon was rising, there was a kind of arunodaya, that is something like reddishness around. So it looks to be a beautiful moon. Vanamcha tat komala gobhiranjidam. The entire forest of Yamuna, that Yamuna bank forest, they all put on an altogether new look. Very beautiful, alluring, fascinating and titillating. Jagau kalam vamadrisham manoharam. The author describes Jagau kalam vamadrisham manoharam. He played a special tune called Kala tune, which will be immensely alluring and pleasing to the damsels. I wanted to tell you, the flutes are described in our Shastras. There are 3 or 4 kinds of flutes. Some are made of bamboo, others are made of silver, others are made of gold, and they have got different lengths, etc. Now the sound coming from each hole has got its own special feature and special power and pleasing or alluring or fascinating note. If I start explaining it, it will take quite a long time. I would like to tell you because these are occasions when I can expose to you the great Shastras that we were able to evolve and maintain. It is not anything of a play for us. It is a great search and research. A question of finding what is the truth. Nishamya Geetam Tadananga Vardhanam Vrajastriyah Krishna Grihita Manasaha Ajagmuranyonyama Lakshitodhyamaha sayatra kamdo javalola kundalaha nishamya geetam tadananga vardhanaha. Nishamya geetam, listening to that music. What kind of a music? Tadananga vardhanaha. The moment you hear it, romance will be generated and instilled in you. Vrajastriyaha, the women of Vraja, Krishna grihita manasaha. The moment they heard the flute play, all of them, they were attracted to, held by Krishna. Their minds were held by Krishna. All of them were riveted to him, wedded to him, so to say. Ajagmuranyonyama lakshitodyamaha. Ajagmuhu. They left their homes, exited from there, and simply started running. Alakshitodyamaha. They made sure that, as I said, none others was able to see. So they just left, resorting to their own ways, methods, routes, etc. Sayatra kamto javalola kundalaha. Their one aim was, you see, there was a sound coming. As you approach nearer and nearer the sound, you will know the direction from which it comes. And if you follow the sound, you will go more and more proximate to the genesis of the sound. So, following the sound, they started proceeding. Now, all the people, or so many of them, at night, when they left their homes and started independently proceeding to the source of the flute, you know what happened? There was utter frenzy and mayhem. This is what the flute play wrought in Vrindavan. What all things happen? After all, they have their daily chores, daily routines. Some were warming the milk, perhaps to be given to the husband or the children just before going to bed. So some were warming the milk. You know what happened? They left the milk and the vessel and the whole oven also. Simply left. Some were milking the cows. The cows and the milk, everything was left. The udder swollen, shedding milk, that was also there. Normally when the cow begins to shed the milk, the entire udder will be fuller and red in color. So the cow wants it to be removed as much as possible, either by human beings or by its own calf. Without that, you should not leave it. It's painful to the cow. So in spite of all these things, they simply left the whole place. Some left the porridge they were preparing on the oven. Others, they were serving food to the members of the house. Some were suckling the infants with disheveled hair, unkempt dress, everything leaving. The children also, they ran away. Some ran away while attending to the husband. Some people were taking food. They stopped. Without washing their hand and the mouth, they started running. There were so many other chores also being attended by them. All of them were left in utter haste and hurry. Some of them were decorating their own bodies, trying to put collyrium on their eyes after taking bath, etc. That also they left. Everybody rushed. Now some of them were withheld by the husbands or the other elder members of the family. They were locked in a room. They were unable to move. So they were forced to remain in the house. You know what happens? When they were obstructed, either by husbands or by brothers or by parents or by the others, nobody heeded. Everybody still ran. After all, until you are physically restricted, you are free to go. So those people who were not physically restricted, they all went away. Some were shut up in the homes, never allowed to move. But their minds were fast tied to Krishna. Physically they were restricted. You know, the mind, impossible to arrest the mind. It is the mind that operates the body, employs the body. The body doesn't employ the mind. So the mind is always superior to the body. When the body was restrained, the mind galloped with greater speed and with greater force towards the flute player. So all their sins were completely burnt in the crucible of viraha from Krishna. They felt the pangs of separation so strongly, so deeply, so sweepingly, that in that fast process, all their sins were burnt off. The mind got purified by the beloved embrace of their Lord in meditation, which they experienced for the first time on that day. All of them attained to the Supreme Soul. All of them attained to the Supreme Soul. Namely, to think of Krishna means to get dissolved into the Supreme Reality through their sentiment. Though their sentiment was belovedness, they were attracted to Krishna in a beloved manner. He is my beloved. He is my beloved. I am a lover. So though the weddedness was through that belovedness, nevertheless, the result was what a spiritual soul or a spiritual seeker will get at the end of his sadhana, attained perfection. The process exterminated all their karmas, prarabdha karma, sanjita karma, agami karma, all of them were completely exterminated, and they gave up their physical bodies then and there. My dear viewers, are you hearing? Our mind is so strong. I was narrating a few days back the Dhruva episode, where the 5-year-old boy left the palace of Uttanapada to Madhuvanam, the dense forest, to stand there ultimately on one of his legs, completely steeped and lost in meditation on Mahavishnu. The power of the mind you can see from the story. Now here we are discussing the situation in a totally different manner. A living Krishna, a boy Krishna was there, and all these women were so attracted to him, maybe with the emotion called passion. What happens? They also attained wonderful Mahasamadhi. They did not have to do any prolonged sadhana at all. Physically they were restricted and restrained, so mentally they galloped, and the bodies fell there. This is what can happen. Parikshit is going to do the same thing. After listening to Shukamuni for 7 days, on the 7th day, before the Takshaka comes and administers his bite, Parikshit had already left. Takshaka bit, no doubt, but only the body. Parikshit was not there to suffer what happened. This is the power and might of the mind. Our mind is tremendous in its power. Even the extensive sky can be no comparison to the expanse and the permeating capacity of our mind. It is wonderful. Understand that it is not matter. You only know physical and chemical laws and processes. The mind is beyond matter, beyond energy. It is supra-material, supra-energial, and therefore we call it spiritual. So the spiritual mind is ungoverned by any laws and processes of the body, matter or energy world. So the restrictions did not work. The mind was powerful enough to merge with their object of devotion and thereby lose the body. Evam shashankam virajita nishaha sasatyakamo anurata balaganaha Sisheva atmanyavaruddha sauradaha sarva sharatkavya katharasashraya. These are all wonderful verses. When Vedavyasa comes to picture romantic scenes, he will use beautiful words suited for that purpose. So they don't lack any kind of a vocabulary, simile, metaphor or other forms of expression. Evam shashankam virajita nishaha. It is not one day. A number of days were spent in this manner. Sa satyakamo anurata balaganaha. Sri Krishna is described as Satyakamaha. Krishna is a Satyakama. He is always aspiring for truth and being truthful. Anurata balaganaha. He was surrounded by those women who were always relishing and wanted to be in the company of their Krishna. Shisheva atmanya varuddha sauradaha. Shisheva, a number of nights he spent along with them. Atmani avaruddha sauradaha. This is an expression I would like you to understand very specially. There are some people who speak about Krishna's Rasa Leela becomes a question. For many devotees, it is something like elixir to think about, to listen to imagine about the whole sportful days. But there are some people who criticize it and they ask. And the criticism is met by saying what? Krishna was a young boy, so there was no question of passion or romance in him, they used to say. But here, if you go by the text, it says that Atmanya avaruddha saurataha. Atmani avaruddha saurataha. He restrained his vital fluid in himself by virtue of his spiritual mastery and yogic skill. Sarvaha sharatkavya katharasashraya. Only poets will be able to describe the beauty, the charm, the brilliance and the alluring nature of the Sharatkala. And such wonderful Sharatkala nights he spent along with them. Parikshit is questioning to Shuka Maharshi, was it right on the part of Sri Krishna to have performed this kind of a Rasa Leela with a number of women from the Braja settlement? So he says, Krishna is not an ordinary person. So the question on the propriety is answered. I am not giving you the full text, only here and there quotations. Anugrahaya bhutanam manusham dehamasthidah bhajate tadrishih kida ya shrutva tatparo bhaved. Anugrahaya bhutanam. Krishna's advent had mainly two purposes. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrita. The wicked people had to be destroyed, and he destroyed more than 5 crores of people in this land. Our Shastras describe it, the earth was overburdened by wicked people, and many of them had to be liquidated, and Krishna's Janma for that purpose. At the same time, it was to bring into focus what is meant by divinity. The divine can be very powerful to destroy things. The divine can be very beautiful and alluring for devotees, good-hearted people to be fascinated with. So this is the twin role he was playing and he had to fulfill. So anugrahaya bhutanam manusham dehamasthidah. So the Supreme Reality assumed a human form. Manusham dehamasthidah. Bhajate tadrishihi kridaha. And in that human form, he resorts to such playful feats, sportful events. Ya shrutva tatparo bhaved. There are people who are not generally interested in spirituality, religious or devotional matters. In order to make them also interested in it, he is enacting a number of sports. So this Rasa Leela may itself appeal to quite a number of people. Initially they may not be interested in spirituality, gradually they will turn to be devotional, later dispassionate and finally spiritual. Krishna's life is basically human, but you will find it is admixed beautifully with other elements. Sometimes it is intriguingly mixed with divine and spiritual elements, you should understand. The purpose is you will be able to, or you should be able to discriminate between the two. What are the facts and what are the embellishments there? So the humanhood will have to be understood first, and the divinity also will have to be parallelly understood. And then the result will be, it should always give an elevating and an ennobling and a fulfilling touch. This is the purpose. Now you may wonder, in a community of people, for several nights, a person like Krishna was sporting with women throughout the night. It's not one day's episode. Meanwhile, what happened? Some people fell dead also when they were restricted. So the entire Vraja settlement knew that something majestic is there. It's not an ordinary affair. So they were afraid of. Those women who were prevented, they fell dead. So they were afraid to prevent. Now what is happening? So there was suspense, there was newness, there was doubt, apprehension, so many things were there.